Okay.
Production value. Hey everybody out there, this is Bo from Bo Not Broken, and I have a real special guest today. I'm glad we've kind of missed. I've been busy, he's been busy, all that kind of stuff, but I wanted Johnny to kind of explain what he's kind of gone through, because I think, as you know, on the Daily Bend, or when I do them so people can tell their stories of struggle and adversity and things like that, and it might help somebody. I know Johnny will help somebody today, and you know, we put these on YouTube and stuff like that. And so anyway, thanks for being on.
Thanks.
You're kind of live, or you are live, but we do tape it and stuff like that. I appreciate you reaching out and kind of getting involved. Tell us about you, and tell us about, you don't have to give us the life story, but maybe tell us about your some of the struggles and how you got through them and things like that.
Well, I guess to start out with, like I said, I approached you because I have a very, very unique insight of suicide, of life and death period. I've had seven near-death experiences, 3 of them car accidents. All 3 of them should have taken my life. One, I fell asleep at the wheel, truck went 100 feet in the air, and I tumbled in over end.
Wow.
Yeah, had my seatbelt on. Second one, I fell asleep at the wheel. When I came to, a diesel was coming right at me, spun out the road and T-boned. Again in the hospital for a while.
Right.
And the third one, which was probably the worst one.
Right.
And I have a huge issue with people texting and driving.
Right.
Because that's what started. She was texting and driving. I was on a crosswalk in a school zone, and I don't remember the accident at all. I don't actually remember leaving my house. I was just on a run. She says I jumped over the hood of the car. This part of my head went through the windshield. I got launched 50 feet back. And since then, 9 years, which actually makes because before then, let me interject here, I've had 3 suicide attempts.
Okay.
For different reasons. And so because of the TBI now, it's part of the reason why I had the 4th one, which was kind of a recent one. So I guess let me start from the beginning. The reason for those first 3 attempts, before all my accidents even started happening. How I grew up. Just from day one, I've had to be a fighter, a struggle for life. I was put in an oxygen tank for 6 months because I had a lung issue.
Right.
After that, I've had bronchitis twice and pneumonia 5 times. So there's not a single bit of my lungs that isn't scarred up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're not a smoker.
Yeah, I'm not. No. Yeah, if I don't do cardio, really good hard cardio, it's a struggle to go upstairs. So how's that playing into effect? Well, because of all that, one of the things I've started finally seeing about my family is the lack of family I had. Ever since I was a kid, I've kind of been through every abuse there could be. The 2 psychiatrists ago, it finally came out, one of the abuses that I had to go through, which I kind of think we know how deep that one is. I don't want to get too much into it, but
that's fine.
It's a painful one, and I think we know what that one is.
Did you feel, through those early attempts, did you feel as though you were not worthy? Did you feel you were less than what am I doing here? Why, was there 1 or 2 or a couple of things that
there was a couple of things, and a lot of it had to do with was because of that, because of lack of family. I grew up without family. I grew up abused like crazy.
Right.
My mom, I've been locked in closets, thrown downstairs.
Right.
And when you have a lack of support like that, the first attempt was pretty much the first attempt was pretty much I just lost strength.
Sure.
I just couldn't do it. I could not do it. I overdosed on some pills, and as I was about to fall asleep, just that voice in my head, don't do this. I called up 911. They came and got me. Got pumped. Not the best feeling in the world.
Sure.
The second time was pretty much kind of like the first time, except worse, because it was 1 year later, and and pretty much the exact same scenario. I was like, I just couldn't do it. I just lost strength, and I just couldn't see how I was going to make it to tomorrow.
Right.
They came again. And the third one was actually the same thing, but the reason was different. The reason was different. Like you said, when you first asked, I honestly felt, I truly knew deep inside my head and heart that the world would be better off without me. That I was just screwing up. I mean, after all, I've had 2 attempts that you know
Right.
what they say about people who have 2 attempts, right? They can't even do that right.
Well, yeah.
You know?
But you know what's interesting is that I've talked to other people too, but you know, the statistic of those that survive, taking their lives, if you have a minute to think about it, like you took pills, if you have some time to think about it, boom, you're the first thing that a lot of people think, whether they're attempting with a gun or jumping off a bridge or whatever, the minute they do it, they go, oh no, it's not. No, this is the wrong thing to do, kind of a thing. Did you ever feel like that?
Sort of, it was a little different for me. I mean, there is that moment, and that was the first 2 moments, when I lost strength, it was pretty much, as they would say, a crime of passion.
Sure.
You just, you had no strength. Third one was a struggle. Third one was a real struggle. It wasn't so much telling the head to, trying to talk the head out of this, talking the heart out of this, because the heart really wanted to.
I know you have another occurrence too to talk about, but has there been anybody, or has it just been you and your will to struggle like this and go through it? Has there been anybody in your life that you've been able to reach out to?
No.
Did anybody reach out to you and just say, hey, how's it going?
No.
And not the ability, because that's kind of what we talk about when I do these things, is reach out to somebody. I don't care if you know them or you don't know them. So you never had that. You've never had anybody say, hey, Johnny, how are you today?
No.
And really listen.
No. I mean, I've grown up, what's funny is because I'm such a, even before the accident, I've been such an outgoing guy. I'm the goofball. I'm the guy who talks to everybody, the one who everybody can talk to and have fun with and listen to. It's kind of like what Robin Williams said, one of the things before he did the deed.
Right.
Oftentimes those people who are out there helping the most are the ones who need the help most.
Right.
And it's hard to reach out. I think for me, I'm not sure how it is for everybody else, and something I wish to educate people on. A lot of times the misnomer is that, reach out to somebody. But the thing is if we had the strength to reach out, we would have reached out.
Right.
And it's hard to, especially these days. We got so much going on. So
that's why don't you think it's incumbent upon other people to actually reach out to whomever, whether they look like they're doing good or they don't look like they're doing good?
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because you, as being in crisis, you probably didn't want to. I mean, it was like, I don't know if I have the strength to reach out sometimes.
And it's embarrassing.
Right.
It's actually quite embarrassing, And
we're trying to make it not embarrassing.
These days, you kind of have to, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess that's kind of the hard part, because on that third attempt, when I felt useless, I mean, there was absolutely no way I was going to reach out to anybody. Why would I reach out if I felt like I was a screw up to everybody? Where I found the strength to do that one, I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea. I guess it was just that same voice in my head just going, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And it took a while for me to listen to that voice.
Sure. So your last attempt was was it different than the other ones?
It was a
Has
lot
it been
different.
recent?
It was November 3rd of last year. A lot of that had to do with a TBI issue.
Right.
I fell into a deep state of depression. Too many changes came upon me. I just moved here, moved in with my girlfriend, new job, new everything, Not to go into too much details, but we're together a short time and she's already cheating. Yeah, she's already cheating on me. The job wasn't going well, and I'm thinking to myself, all this change that was going was just too much too fast, and everything kicked in. The depression kicked in. And this time it wasn't me calling anybody.
Right.
This time the police found me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the police found me. There was a search. Someone was trying to call me, and they were, just got that feeling they'd be concerned, and so the police came and got me. And they found me. Next thing I know, I don't remember actually the day afterwards, but the next day after that, I remember, that one was a little different. That one, I was out of it. I was gone. I was done.
Wow. Let me break for just a second. Production value here. I just want to make sure we're rolling along.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're rolling along pretty good though. You're watching the Daily Bend here. I'm with Johnny. We're talking a little bit about, well, we're talking a lot about some of his struggles. So the last one happened in November. What's keeping you here? What's keeping you in life? What is it? Is there something or someone or just some thought that, you know?
I don't want to come
I
out
appreciate I appreciate your candor and all that. I don't know. What I try and do is ask challenging questions so people that might be looking in and struggling, they might identify with something that kind of clicks in your head when, because it's been almost a year, which is great. That's awesome, and, do you feel like you matter? Do you feel like you matter? Do you feel like you belong? Is there something that's keeping you here?
That's every now and then that's kind of the struggle I have. What's keeping me here is just, that's why I mentioned the since day one I've had to fight.
Right.
That's just how I've always been a fighter. I've tried to. You wake up, especially with the brain injury that I have. I wake up and it's a struggle.
Right.
Because there are times where everything's just so foggy and it's just so hard to even get out of bed. But I know that once I do get out of bed, things get easier. I can start thinking clearly. I can get my emotions back in check. I know where I'm at. I go to the gym. And that's actually one of the biggest things that actually keeps me going is the gym.
Little endorphins.
That's
awesome.
The best medicine is exercise. I truly believe. I've actually gone to a doctor, and he tried to prescribe me some antidepressant. And I actually came in there for anxiety, and I'm like thinking, I'm looking at the medicine, going, there are more side effects, bad side effects for this. I'm going, no, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, except harder.
Good for you.
I've never taken medicine. I've never not even paid medicine for everything that I have to go through with this. I think that's one. Yeah, as far as that goes, But and again, not to go to a pity party, but if you look even in my phone book, I have 6 contacts, and 3 of them are from here.
Right.
That's recently I just decided to start. I've had people in there that I just needed to get rid of. If Will Smith came out with this great philosophy a while back, fanning your flames. If they aren't fanning your flames, then why do you have them around?
True.
So just start all over, I guess. And what keeps me going is I wake up, no matter how, and I'll be honest with you, today was one of those just unbelievable struggles. I mean, loneliness sets in, and you mentioned it, like a fitting in. That's part of my thing that I've my whole life I've never felt in, like I fit in. I grew up in a school. I grew up in Tennessee. Being the only Mexican in school, and in an area that's heavily when people talk about racism. Yeah, I mean, my school had most beautiful black, most beautiful white. That's how hard it was growing up there. I had blacks look at me, you're too white. I had whites look at me, you're too.
And that's sad.
Yeah, and that's how I grew up. And then you put on top of that no family and everything. And by the time I got to my mid-20s, which is when I had my first attempt, I was just like, I can't do this. I don't fit in. I don't have anybody. I don't have anybody I can talk to. As for those who are going through this, I know it's hard and I know it's embarrassing, but there's just got to be something inside you. There's a phrase, I didn't get this far just to get this far.
Right.
Whatever you're going through, it's hard, it sucks, and it hurts, and I hope people look at that person and not say to things like, oh, you get through this. That's not what really, because first you got to validate that pain. People who are hurting that much want to know that it's okay to hurt, and it is. It's okay to cry every now and then. It's okay.
To have
to
the
feel
pity
bad.
party.
Yeah, it's okay to get there, but when you stay there, that's when it's dangerous. And I know that people and I think that's what happens to a lot of us when we get to that point, is because we stay there way too long.
Right.
We couldn't find that sunshine. We couldn't find that hope. We couldn't find what about tomorrow, and that's the biggest question I have today. And that's actually the second question that came into my head all those 3 times. Is like, well, what about tomorrow? What if? I'm still waiting for that what if. I'm 45 years old. I don't have any kind of family. I don't have anybody that really knows me.
Right.
And I wake up every day getting out of bed hoping something's going to happen. Holidays I hate. Holidays are the worst part. And it's hard to talk about this, but I figure if I do this and become brave, maybe reach out to somebody else who's doing this, because we all need to be brave. It's hard. The first step to really overcoming for anybody on the inside of this is to be brave. You know, it's just
Well,
say
I want
something.
you to know that I really appreciate you talking the way you've talked. I'd love to have you back again if you have some thoughts after, we always get on and then you forget something.
Yeah.
And if you want, we'll do it again. The thing is you do have a family. You do have people that care. I know that may sound somewhat shallow, but you're a part of a group of people now that, I want you to get on my pages and we'll get on yours. And, I'm sure there's going to be some people out there who are going to go, hey, you talked to that Johnny guy. I'd love to talk to him for a minute. I mean, I'd love for teenagers to talk to you. I'd love for other people to kind of pick your brain and figure it out, because that's what this is all about. So the only thing I'm touting is you, and you do matter, and I do appreciate what you've done, because I guarantee you're going to connect with a lot of people. I have thousands and thousands of people that watch this stuff.
Oh boy.
And they will be moved by it, because I'm going to post it again and again and again and show that there are people out there that I think it probably will make you feel good to help people too.
Yeah.
Right?
Some purpose, yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If I may, one of the things because you mentioned kids, and I actually, me personally, I'm a silly guy. I dress in a T-Rex suit just for fun. I go into the track system, because it's a T-Rex on a T-Rex, right?
Right.
Something recently that happened to me, and I'm not sure if Kimmy talked to you about it, but there was a lady that went on a public post. It's actually his first round, and she put out, and that's kind of the reason why I'm talking to you now, is because she put out some intimate details about my life, going, this guy's suicidal, he could crash anytime, and that hurt.
And so what?
And so that, yeah, and I'm like, she doesn't even know me. I've never met this person.
Right.
And you mentioned kids, and that's one thing that's happening right now, is like that scares me a little bit. And another reason why I'm doing this is because there are a lot of teenagers, kids out there. I mean, I've in St. George, there was a 12-year-old girl who hung herself.
Yep.
How in the world does a 12-year-old, first of all, learn how to hang herself? Mm-hmm. And what brought her to that point? And a lot of it has to do with, we've become such an insensitive world. Kids these days, they post mean things.
Right.
And that's out there for thousands upon thousands to see. That's a tough thing to deal with.
Right.
When it comes to suicide these days, I think that's the biggest problem that we face now, because we've become such insensitive people. We've become closed off. We've become so into doing our routine that we forget, hey, part of life isn't getting that extra paycheck. It isn't going from place to place. Part of life is stopping,
right,
smelling the roses, looking around you, because in the end, the only thing you can take with you is here and here.
Right.
Like they say, you don't see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it. And these kids, they're having to deal with things that we didn't have to.
True.
And they get hammered. They get, such mean things are said. And those sticks and stone things don't work these days like it used to.
No. We grew up in different generations.
But I think, my advice to anyone, be a teenager, be adult, whoever, one of the things that I think needs to happen is not to, I think one of the deadliest phrases that's out there is, hey, call me if you need me. Okay, that's deadly. That's super, super deadly. Again, like I said before, if we had the strength to do that, we would have done that. One of the things that needs to be said is to sit down and say, look, I'm here for you. I'm going to call you tomorrow. And I'm going to call you the day after that. And I'm going to come over, and I'm going to come over, and I'm going to come over. All right? That's what's going to get somebody out of that. I'm going to come over. Not this, oh, call me if you need me. No. We who have that strength, we need that sunshine from an outside source every now and then to give us the strength. And I think there's like this mixture of like mental illness versus, I'm going to be honest with you, those who you can save, it's not a mental illness. It's a lack of heart.
Sure.
They've lost heart. Because anybody who's got it seriously in their head, in their mental, like that last time, it was mental more than heart. Mm-hmm. And I was done. Mm-hmm. Luckily I was found.
Right.
But those 3 times when it was heart, I was able to talk myself out of that. So there's where the difference needs to be. And most of us, 90% of us out there, is heart. And again, just going back to that, when you feel something like that, or somebody's there, you've got to say to them, hey, you got to talk to their heart. I'm going to be there. Don't worry about it. I got you. You don't need to call me. I'm going to call you. Just show up randomly and say, hey, how you doing? You don't need to talk about it. You just need to show them, hey, I'm here. And that's going to talk to their heart.
You rock, man. I don't have anything else to say other than I hope you'll watch this. I hope you'll share it. We'll have him back again. you know, probably one of the better people I've had on, and what you just said, people need to hear, parents need to hear over and over and over again, and people need to hear that over and over again. I want you to come. I'm having a benefit on the 29th of October. I want you to come. I don't want you to pay anything, but I want you to come. I'm hoping there's a lot of people out there with money that will want to donate to this cause, but I want you to come because I want you to mingle. I want you to mingle with people and tell your story and talk about things like that. So don't worry about that. I want you to come because you're one of those people that have affected and will affect other people's lives. Anyway, I appreciate everybody watching. I hope you'll like this. I hope you'll share it again and again and again. And I'll post it up on all the different sites that I have. And I hope you'll do it as well. Great interview. Thank you.